have with you right now, buddy?
Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it your entire life. Beamer ball, which means a focus on the most important phase of football, which is special teams. That came from his dad at Virginia Tech, where this man was a wide receiver. Now, head coach of the South Carolina Gamecocks. Go Cox! Shane Beamer. Hey, good to see you, but they're clapping for you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Great to be on with you guys. Thank you.
Hey, obviously, massive weekend here in Columbia. Game days here. LSU's in town. You guys are hot. How do you feel going into the weekend? How do the boys feel?
Yeah, excited. You know, we got an older group in a lot of ways, a bunch of old guys that have been around here for a while, and they're excited. And when we found out that you guys, game day was coming, Pat McAfee was coming, we found that out on Saturday night on the plane ride back from Kentucky, and there's been a level of excitement that's been sky high all week, and had a great week and excited about tomorrow.
Okay, so this is my first time down here.
Yep.
Not as hot as I thought it was going to be. This is really nice. I would like dew point. I don't know what it is, pretty low. The temperature, fantastic. There's overcast too, so I'm not even getting cooked, although inside out naturally cooking. There was some clouds coming in this morning, so we were... the plane was doing one of these. What should we expect from the South Carolina fans tomorrow? I've heard nothing but amazing things about your crew.
Yeah, no, there's the best fans in America, and this is an unbelievable environment, stadium, day, night, doesn't matter. It'll be rocking in here tomorrow, and you're in for a treat. Excited that you're here, but this place, they love their college football, they love their Gamecocks, and there's a lot of excitement and buzz about this game, obviously, and can't wait to get started.
We looked up some stats on you. Do you know you're the only coach since 1978 to win twice by 20-plus points when being a 20-point dog?
I did know that.
Yeah, okay. Check your Wikipedia. That's smart. How do you describe this team that you have? You said an older group, but what should we expect whenever we watch them against LSU?
Yeah, right now we're a group that plays together, great connection. You know, got a guys, like I said, that have been around here for a while. Really good defense. We showed that last week up at Kentucky. Got a big challenge tomorrow against this LSU offensive line for sure. But a lot of really good players on our defense. And then an offense with a lot of good players. It's a lot of new faces. And they're coming around. Great special teams. We've been doing a good job from a special teams standpoint. We're going to need to tomorrow. But it's a group that's very hungry, very confident. And obviously we've had 2 good weeks and need to keep it going.
AJ, back in the studio, has a question for you.
Coach, a big game like this early in the season for your team. I know you have somewhat of a veteran team, but playing in a great atmosphere like that, what can it do for your team moving forward when they've had this experience? Like, how much can you gain from that confidence? I mean, regardless of what the score is, just being on that stage, I think, can pay dividends later in the year.
Yeah, great question. And that's one of the things that we talked about was, you know, we went up to Kentucky last week and we handled a really tough environment on the road against a really good Kentucky team that they were a veteran team and were favored. And then we talked about it all. We've been talking about it all this week. Like that game last week against Kentucky, we're either going to look back at that game in 9 weeks or 10 weeks, whatever it is, and say that game really propelled us to a special season, or we're going to look back and say, you know what an opportunity we wasted after that performance at Kentucky. And that's one of the biggest challenges we have this week is just, you know, nobody thought we were worth a crap last week. Nobody thought game day was going to be here this week. And we just went to work last week, the practice leading up to Kentucky, and we just worked. And that's what we've been talking about with our guys all week is just consistent routine, do what we did last week. We don't need to do more necessarily, just continue to prepare and let's be at our best on Saturday and not let all the distractions, not let the fact that the Pat McAfee Show is here mess with our prep, and not let the fact that college game day and everyone else is here as well. Let's just do what we do and go try and play our best on Saturday.
I don't want to point out some bad stats. Everywhere game day has gone, the home team has lost. But that changes this week. Now. We shall see in inside baseball here, inside game day. I think we all kind of knew it was either going to be South Carolina or Kentucky. Mm-hmm. So that game was literally game day game for us. And I don't know if you saw the pick section. I knew we were coming to South Carolina.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I was at the stadium, obviously, when you were making the picks, getting ready to go. But then you endeared yourself to a lot of Gamecocks, pretty much all of Gamecock Nation.
I love Sox.
As I know you do.
Who doesn't?
And when you made that pick, there were a lot of people that had your back and are excited to see you here tomorrow because of that pick.
So in Charlotte, last year, whenever we had game day for North Carolina, South Carolina, I had no idea. I thought it was going to be in Charlotte, right? North Carolina. I had no idea about this fan base. And then once you start looking at your roster, and obviously South Carolina has produced some of the greatest football players of all time in your own backyard here. But then this Dylan Stewart guy.
Yeah.
Hey, he's a real deal. 6'6", 248.
Yeah.
Freshman. Edge rusher. And he's got this lean and dip. I mean, whenever you recruit somebody like that, and you see somebody like that, you immediately think to yourself, this guy's a game changer. And did you expect it this quickly with him?
I don't know if I expected it this quickly. We knew he was really talented when we recruited him, but then when he got here and he was able to go through spring practice, I mean, you get into spring practice and you realize pretty quickly this guy's pretty special. And then watching him over the summer, the way he developed, and then he had a great preseason. And we got a lot of other really good players in that defensive end edge room with him. I don't know if I expected him to do what he's done the first 2 weeks, and there's a lot to continue to improve on. And that's what's exciting about him and the rest of our team is we can be a lot better than what we showed last week, and him included.
I have a full breakdown on the youth movement of college football tomorrow, and Dylan's obviously a part of it. You talk about Raiola, you talk about Smith, you talk about Williams, you talk about Nico Iamaleava, who's a redshirt freshman. It's like there's a lot of young guys that have seemingly they're like 35-year-olds. I don't know how they've matured so quickly. It's a wonderful thing. Connor has a question for you back in the studio.
Yeah, Coach, when you're talking about the game tomorrow, and obviously you guys really did, and I watched the whole game, you beat the shit out of Kentucky. It was wonderful as somebody who bet on the Cocks have to do it. But when you're talking about a game tomorrow that's at night, you know, what does the day look like? Do you rather have a night game because the atmosphere and everything kind of builds? Or is it one of those things where you're antsy all day, you rather just have a noon kick and kind of get after it with the boys right away?
Yeah, we're at noon tomorrow, so we get to get up and go. And yes,
Learn to follow the program. Dude.
I knew that for sure.
Yeah,
but our set is actually right here because it was moving inside here for the last hour because of the noon game, and just like in Michigan, so we got an early kickoff.
No doubt. But to answer your question, I'd rather just get up and go. I hate sitting around all day. I mean, I love night games here. Don't get me wrong. This place will be rocking if it was an 8 a.m. kickoff tomorrow. So it'll be rocking tomorrow at noon. And as a coach, I mean, there's been so much build up about this game. There's so much excitement about this game. I'm excited to just get up and go play, and we don't have to sit around all day.
How long have you been the head coach here now?
This is my 4th season.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Not easy at all in the SEC. And obviously you grow up in the Virginia Tech world because of your dad. Similar vibes about like, because Virginia Tech, not always like given the highest of praise. I think South Carolina, similar thing, right?
Yeah.
Feel right at home here?
No, in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways, certainly. I was here as an assistant coach with Steve Spurrier. Love my time here as an assistant. Two of my wife and I's 3 children were born here in Columbia. I was born down the road in Charleston, so very much this is home, but certainly there's not a lot of people when you talk about the blue bloods, if you will, of the SEC that talk about South Carolina. And in my mind, we have everything that we need here to be successful and win championships. We've shown that in other sports and have the resources that we need. And we've won a lot of big games around here and plan on winning a lot more here going forward.
Dawn Staley, celebrity guest picker tomorrow. Cannot wait to pick her brain on how to be great. Obviously, she's player, her highlights that were coming out.
Yeah.
Do you remember? She was absolute beast on the basketball court.
No, I don't want to make her sound old because she's a few years older than me, but she was playing at UVA when I was at Virginia Tech, and remember to seeing her highlights. I'm a little bit younger, but seeing her highlights growing up, and now to be a colleague of hers here at Carolina. She was a baller back in the day and still is now for sure.
She got a promo yesterday about being pumped about being the guest picker. I love to hear that. Anybody that's excited to do the job, we're pumped about. Ty has a question for you, Coach.
Yeah, Coach. Pat just mentioned your dad, and obviously when it comes to sports, a lot of times when you have generational kids whose parents have played, in a professional league, it's always like, hey, how is this person going to live up to the expectations that their parent set for them playing? With someone like your dad, who is one of the greatest coaches of all time, how much do you still lean on him for advice? And also, how difficult is it, knowing what he did and how successful he was? Like, do you ever kind of measure yourself in the moment, like, oh, well, my dad was doing this at this time, or I should be doing this because my dad did it this way? How does that process kind of play out?
No, great question. I was very fortunate to grow up as his son, obviously still be his son, play for him in college. I coached with him, so I've been so much of what I'm about as a coach is what I took from my dad. Philosophy-wise and things like that. And if you spend a lot of time around our program, you'd probably feel more of a Virginia Tech vibe around our program than any of the other places that I've been. And I've worked for some awesome coaches and been very blessed to work for Hall of Famers, and most recently Lincoln Riley, and then Kirby Smart before him, and Steve Spurrier, and on and on and on. So I've taken from all those guys. For me, it's not comparing to him. We obviously he's here all the time. He'll be here today. He'll be here tomorrow, obviously, for the game. So I lean on him when I need to, without a doubt. But also, I think the biggest thing with him is just learning. Really, I saw at a young age, and it's helped me now, just understanding what a thin line it is between winning and losing. For all my dad accomplished at Virginia Tech, it took till his 7th season for him to even go to a bowl game. And his 5th season, they had a losing record. 6th season, they had a losing record. And then I think their 7th season, they really hit it and took off. So just understanding that, man, there's a thin line between winning and losing, and always appreciate winning.
Your dad didn't recruit me, so I can't wait to see him.
Yeah, we need to have a talk about that. Biggest mistake ever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ever.
Okay, so is there times where you're like, man, I sound exactly like my dad?
Yeah, totally.
I'm doing that right now with like my daughter.
Yeah.
And I'll say something or think something, and I'm like, man, am I Tim McAfee right now? I assume for you, coaching, there's a lot of that.
All the time, particularly on the field or things that I'll say. One of our assistant coaches, our defensive backs coach, Torian Gray, played at Virginia Tech, was a great defensive back for my dad in the mid-'90s. And I'll say things in staff meetings that I can just kind of look up at T. Gray, and he looks back at me, and he knows exactly where he had heard that before. But I also catch him doing it as well. I hear him say things to the DBs that I know that my dad used to say when he was coaching.
Hey, you're pretty fiery on the sideline. I enjoy watching you.
Yeah.
You're entertaining.
I try and be poised, but I'm an emotional guy. And I think more than anything, I just love watching our players compete. And that's what gets me going, is just watching our guys. I love the players we have in our program, and just watching them have success and get to compete on Saturdays is what fires me up.
Yeah, but the team appreciates it. The team appreciates it too. It's like, this guy's actually invested in, you look young. You said you're old as shit, but you look young. Tone Diggs has a question for you, Coach.
Yeah, Coach, you go from a fifth-year senior last year and Spencer Rattler, a quarterback who was unbelievable for you guys, and obviously he leaves. He plays really well for the Saints in the preseason, and now you have a young quarterback in Lenore Sellers who is more of a dual threat for him. How is that going from Rattler, who was just so polished and so good throwing the football, to a young quarterback who some say has to develop in the passing game and is an incredible athlete?
Yeah, it's been good. Lenoris is very poised. He's not your typical redshirt freshman. He's a very mature young man. He redshirted last year, and he was able to play in a couple games. But more importantly, he was able to sit in that quarterback room all year with Spencer, and we traveled him to every away game last year, and he dressed for every game. So he hasn't necessarily played as a starter, obviously, a lot, but he's been around this environment, and he's not a guy that lets the moment get to him. He's very, like I said, poised, confident. He's been fantastic. He's going to continue to get better, and we're really young around him. I mean, we're starting a true freshman left tackle.
We've got scare the shit out of you.
He's talented, but he's young. We started 2 true freshmen last year on the offensive line, so we're used to it. And then, 3 of our top 5 receivers, they weren't even here during spring practice. So there's a lot of new faces around Lenoris. He'll continue to get better. The offense around Lenoris will continue to get better. And I'm excited about his future here at Carolina as our quarterback.
He wears the specs, right?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
That is a gangster move.
Yeah.
I don't know if we NIL'd the shit out of that yet, but we win a couple games. We can probably sell goggles.
Yeah, we're missing a great opportunity in Iowa.
Oh, you beat LSU, though.
Yeah.
Then it kind of goes, we need to get a Rec Specs distributor on the phone tonight. Tomorrow we need to move those things. AJ's got one for you, Coach.
Coach, when you took the job there, did you understand how crazy and how passionate the fans are down there? Like, that's all we hear about. And I have not been lucky enough to attend a game there. I hope to someday. But, like, all I hear about is how loud it is and how unbelievable your following is.
Yeah, no, you need to. Anytime you want to come down for a game, Pat's got my number. Well, I think he does. When he got that new contract over the summer, I texted him, and he never hit me back. So maybe he changed his number and didn't give it to me.
New phone, who did?
Yeah, clearly. But anytime you want to come, Pat has my number. Just let him know, and we'd love to have you. But no, I did. I was here 2007, 8, 9, and 10 with Steve Spurrier, and we had some amazing wins during that time. But I saw the passion of that fan base back then. Heck, AJ, like the first time my experience ever in this stadium was my dad's very first season coaching at Virginia Tech in 1987, and his first away game as the head coach at Virginia Tech is here at Williams-Brice Stadium. And I'm a 10-year-old kid that comes in here and sees this environment in 2001 and all that and the pageantry, and I was mesmerized then as a 10-year-old, so I saw it pretty quickly, and then got to experience, like I said, as an assistant coach here too.
So, I mean, let's not take anything away from Virginia Tech's atmosphere. Mm-hmm. Obviously,
great.
The entrance there, top of the line. I heard Darude Sandstorm here is bananas, though.
It's wild. When we come out tomorrow to 2001 Space Odyssey, it'll be Just wait. And then once we come out of that tunnel down there, 2001, and then Darude sandstorm hit right before kickoff, just wait. Ooh. Yep. Darude was here for a game last year. Did a live DJ show right up there.
Wow. What is Darude?
He's one guy.
One guy.
Darude.
He's
one
that
day.
man.
Yep.
Has hit from 20 years ago that is still absolutely banging. All right, what's the rest of the day look like? Do we have a set schedule?
Yeah,
routine?
I got a production meeting with which I'm 4 minutes late for with Saban and Hurd Street, so they're going to be pissed that you've kept me 4 minutes over as well.
Absolutely.
So I've got that. Then we got a team meeting, and then we'll be back over here for a walkthrough here in a little bit after some position meetings, hotel tonight, and go to bed and wake up and get ready to roll.
Is the alarm Darude or?
No, I'm not technologically savvy enough to figure out the alarm. It's regular, regular alarm.
Yeah, wake up for war. I got it. Last question. The SEC.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've had experience now. Kirby, you coach. You get it. But it is bananas.
Yeah.
I mean, it's absolutely bananas.
Yeah.
Is it the right time for your team to maybe have a run, especially with this 12-team playoff and how many teams are potentially going to go from the SEC? Do you think about that?
No, I think every team in the conference does it. Now that it's a 12-team playoff, you play in the most competitive conference in the nation. It's facts. So if you're one of the 4 or 5 best teams in this league, you're going to have an opportunity most likely in the 12-team playoff. So I think every school in this league understands that. I think nowadays with the portal and you're talking about the youth movement in college football, the teams that are the older teams that are veteran teams that have been around for a while, to me, those are the teams that are going to have the most success. You look at the college basketball Final Four a couple years ago when they had like FAU, Miami, I think San Diego State and UConn. Yeah, and guys like a lot of teams like that are older guys. We've got an old team, particularly on the offensive line and on defense, and you want to be an experienced group, and we are.
Culture. You're able to build it.
Yeah.
I think we're talking about this tomorrow as well. The amount of movement, I think you can say you have culture, but easy come, easy go with that.
No, it's hard. Every year is starting over. We got a strong culture here, and we got, I think, 39 new players on our team this year that weren't here last year between freshmen and transfers. So every year is starting over.
Yeah, but you got to keep your culture.
Keep the culture, keep the guys intact, bring in new players every year, scholarship freshmen, and transfers here and there. But the Kirby said it, keep the teams intact, and the teams that are able to keep their teams intact, to me, are the ones that are going to have the most success.
And I know we're holding you up here, but I would like to get a Beamer's perspective on a new NFL kickoff.
Different. I don't want to. I'm not dodging the question. I really haven't studied it enough. Yeah, I really haven't.
Don, you got big.
It looks weird.
It looks weird. I mean, I watched the Dolphins game last night, and it was all touchbacks. So I'm kind of like, what's the big?
It's going to happen again.
What's the big deal?
That's gonna be the case.
Yeah.
Because they moved it to the 30 instead of the 35. They were originally going to move it to the 35, which I think would have affected some things. They go from 25 to 30.
Yeah,
I don't think enough people care.
No, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because of stats and everything.
Exactly.
We take special teams serious around.
We do. Real serious. We spend a ton of time on it.
I appreciate
Thanks, man.
Good luck.
Yep. Thank you.
Once.
Yep.
Anything?
Good luck at noon, Coach. Good luck at noon, Coach.
Thanks, fellas.
He knew that the whole time.
Yeah, good luck at noon.
He knew it the whole time.
Appreciate you, Coach. Connor, don't embarrass the program. This is like whenever you talk to what's-his-face at the Phoenix Open.
Yeah, BC the same, and he had the on and on with him, too. I mean, yeah, look, I suck at this shit. You know, it just kind of is what it is. And I knew as soon as I framed the question with, you guys are at night, so that was just the wrong move. I should have said, do you rather play at night or at noon? Because I didn't know. But instead, I do what I do. And I act like I know when I don't know, and that's what happens. Yeah, I mean that's what's going to happen when you're firing from the hip, if you will.
Yeah, Coach seems pretty calm, doesn't he, Pat? Coach seems pretty cool, calm, and collected before.
Thank you.
The day of a noon kickoff tomorrow, a quick one. Oh yeah,
they want a picture right now.
Oh yeah, go do it. Go take a picture.
Yeah, get one with the bean.
Get in there.
Not get a picture.
You want him get him behind the podium so they have the sign and everything.
Very nice to meet you.
Oh, nice. Here we go.
Not the coach. Oh, okay.
Nice to meet you.
Here we go. Look at that. All right.
Is that cut?
This is great.
Go South Carolina.
Win in Columbia.
All right,
Good luck. Good luck. Come on now.
Hey,
Good luck,
brother.
you get a selfie.
Don't mess up that sideline paint. Or no, you're in the middle of the field. My bad. You're not on the sideline. Where are you?
No, I am on the sideline. Fresh paint right here.
Oh,
Yeah.
for a
There's
second
actually a sign that says fresh paint. And, I wore these bad boys today.
Ooh.
I don't know if you see.